We have a very special new one today, guys. Super special. Boom. What is up, guys? My name is Mark Senmary, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the RC vlog. Guys, today we have the new Tekno RC ET48 2.2. Now, this is the new electric truggy by Tekno. The ET actually stands for ET, the 4 stands for 4-wheel drive, the 8 stands for A-scale, 2.2 is the version. This is the latest and greatest, and possibly one of my favorite race cars ever, mainly because it's always fun to drive, super easy to tune, and hands down the most forgiving off-road RC vehicle you could ever drive. The craziest part about e-truggy is I literally never wrench on mine. My e-truggy is right here. This is the ET48 2.0, and I can literally bring it to the race and just drive it. And it's minor adjustments, and I can get it tuned in for the track. I always have a blast driving it. And because it's so forgiving, I feel like the maintenance is less impactful whenever it's not done super often. I know that sounds bad, but it's the truth. I just got done racing mine at the Truck Nats, and there were several Tekno drivers that had the new truggy, and I was on pace. Did I win? No, but I was definitely on pace. I had the truck to win, I just kept making mistakes, but just an amazing RC vehicle. So the way we're gonna go over all the improvements and differences from the original 2.0 to the 2.2 is I'm actually gonna compare it side by side with my 2.0 so we can see exactly what changed. Now, one thing I really like about Tekno RC car builds, this does come as a kit, so nothing will be put together. You have to put everything together. However, when it comes to builds, I mean, Tekno is the pinnacle in regards to quality and instructions. The manual is super easy to read. Everything goes to get... Wait a second. That's all I got in there? I'm just joking, guys. I already built this thing. But yes, the build is absolutely amazing. I mean, it is a dream. No guessing games, no missing parts, no weird instructions, everything super freaking intuitive. I do want to quickly show you how amazing the building instructions are on the Tekno build. Opening it up, obviously broken up in bags, so you basically can just do a bag, and then when you're done with the bag, you can take breaks and do whatever. You don't have a whole bunch of extra parts after your bag is completed unless there's option parts. All these sizes of screws are actually the sizes. So like, let's say you're going to this piece and you know you need that screw. It tells you the part number. You can match it up with the part number here, and you can actually put the screw up to this, and that is the actual size of the screw. It gives you some option parts that you can use. It also has some nice build notes. You rarely have questions that can't be answered in the instruction manual, which is great. Tells you where to grease. A lot of information in the building instructions. Look, even on the diffs, tells you the fill level. Another thing I really like is the camber links and turnbuckles. They're actually the size of what they need to be. So this is 86 millimeters here. You can build this camber link and then put it up against the manual, and that's the actual size it needs to be. You know it's a great manual whenever you recommend a Tekno kit to somebody, and you don't have to tell them, oh yeah, when you get to this part, you got to do this, or when you get to this part, you got to do this. You don't have to, because it's all in the manual. No guessing games. Tells you how to build shocks. I mean, the manual just so intuitive. Even tells you setup information. I probably should use this more, but it will tell you what changes will do what. I mean, these are things that people overlook that they shouldn't, because they're very, very informative. Here is the box stock setup sheet. Now, I did set mine up as box stock because Tekno has been knocking it out of the park with box stock setups lately. On the EB48 2.2, mine is almost box stock, and it feels great. So instead of me doing what I think I should do, I'm starting with box stock on this build, and we're just gonna go from there. Here she is. Look at how beautiful this truck is. Now, one thing Tekno has figured out that used to be something that racers struggled with all the time is the arms binding. They actually made tools called arm reamers, and that was so your arms could basically move freely. Tekno has this new thing where they put these inserts inside the arms, and guys, you can literally like swing the arms up and down even on a fresh build. Back in the day, we'd either have to ream the arms out, or there was a break-in period to get the truck to actually start working the way it was designed. But with these new Teknos, everything is as smooth as butter. I freaking love it. Now, the parts on my truck that aren't stock is, one, I have the flock foil. I got to support my boys out at Racecraft. Those guys are freaking awesome, and this looks cool, and it's a lot more durable than the Lexan piece. And then I also have the upgraded Tekno aluminum servo horn. I already know where all my endpoints need to be here. And then I really like how it has a screw that clamps the horn onto the spline. It just gives you a little bit more security in regards to stripping out your servo horn, and it's one less thing that can go wrong during the race. All right, so here is the new Truggy next to the old Truggy. We're gonna go over the new updates and the changes they made. The first thing is the Light and CNC machine shock towers. This is the old shock tower. This is the new one. Now you can't really see it with the Racecraft there, but you can see it on the back, how it has more pieces cut out, which lightens the shock tower. Here's the old one and the new one. New 140mm rear universal drive shafts. So as you can see on the old Truggy, they use CVDs, whereas on the new Truggy, they're universal. You can see the U-joint right there. This typically means it spins freer, so you'll have less suspension binding in the rear. New precision molded shock pistons and guides. Now the pistons and guides are inside the shocks. I've already built those, but they do look like a new plastic. There wasn't really a problem with these, but these are going to be just a little bit smoother. You can also tell the setup is different. On the old one, it had yellow springs on the back. On the new one, it has pink springs. New reduced Ackerman spindle plates. That is on here on the spindle. You can see these little carbon fiber pieces here. You can see on the old one, they weren't detachable and they were part of the spindle. This adds another tuning adjustment, which is nice. And I like carbon fiber. New sway bar deadband bushings on the, ooh, that's not good. On the old one, you can see, like mine's actually coming off, but there are bearings inside the gearbox and these bushings go inside the bearings. On the new one, oh, this is another piece that I upgraded. I put the anodized aluminum sway bar bushings. They actually mount backwards, and then there's just these little bushings inside these pieces where the bearings used to go. It seems to be more free, so you'll get better action out of your sway bars with the new design. Now, the other change that is huge is the revised -2mm front and rear bulkheads. Now, you can't see it on the truck, however, it does make a huge difference, but essentially these bulkheads right here, they're lower, so they give you a lower roll center, and I can tell you whenever I put these on my buggy, it made a huge difference. Now, because it has those bulkheads, it also has the -2mm rear hubs and the -2mm low roll center spindles. Also has the new shock standoffs. The old shock standoffs actually had threads that kind of came off and then you put a nut on the back. The new ones, here you can see it on this side, it's actually a 4mm screw that goes through the standoff, which is nice because if something breaks, you can always just replace the screw and not the entire standoff. They also have different tuning options for the standoffs if you want to move your shocks in and out, which is nice. The inner hinge pin sleeves, that's what I was talking about when it comes to how free the suspension moves. There's these little sleeves that go inside the arm here. So basically your hinge pin doesn't rub up against the plastic. It's on this metal sleeve and you don't have to worry about anything binding. I mean, that is a big deal. The front and rear arms are different. Here is the old one. Golly, that one is all beat up. And then the new one, it's kind of hard to tell the differences. You can see here, this is the older Truggy. It had a pill that went into the outside of the arm. It does not have it on the new one. And then these outer pieces are just slightly different. Spindle carriers are different also. It's a different design, but also a different setup. These are 18-degree caster versus 15. Another new feature that they don't mention on the side of the box, which I greatly appreciate, are these side moldings. As you can see here, the thing that holds the wire in is held on by a screw here, and you can just kind of pop this plate off. On the old one, you run the wire under this piece. And the reason why that's a pain is you have to take this whole side piece off in order to get the wires up under there. I mean, you could try to stretch it, but you might risk breaking it. However, it's nice that you don't have to remove this piece anymore. You just have to remove these screws to mount your electronics in there. It makes life that much easier. Lots of changes, guys. I'm super stoked. We're gonna throw my electronics in this thing, take it to the track, and I'll give you guys my opinions on how it drives directly out of the box. All right, guys, we are here at NDRC World. We have a private track just for me. We're gonna be ripping this thing. A couple of things, the motor is actually counter rotation. So make sure whenever you put your electronics in there, you have a program card to be able to counter rotate your motor. It threw me off, and it's because the differentials are in on the opposite side, just like the Nitro buggy. It's not a problem, just a quick note, but we're about to rip this thing. I'm super stoked. All right, so I'm going to assume, now they've been working on their box stock setups, but I'm gonna assume that the suspension is too soft because this track likes a really stiff suspension. Oh my God. My camera guy was almost about to take a walk. I shorted that jump a little bit. I don't have a lot of time on this track, but I have a lot of time on the right side of the track. Ooh, it rotates a lot. It actually feels really good. I really don't have any complaints. Now, the first couple of laps, you always kind of want to let your truck kind of set in. Not really break in, but I mean, a fresh car can be a handful sometimes, so. I actually like the way it rotates right out of the box. I'm not, oh no! All right, so when I drive a car for the first time, a race vehicle for the first time, what I'm feeling is how the car reacts under power and off power. So off power, seems like it rotates really well. Whenever I get on power, you do want it to rotate on power. I like to drive with a lot of push on power, where whenever I give it throttle, it kind of straightens up and just goes exactly where I want it to go. I don't think that's the fastest way to drive. I think it's actually faster to drive where your car can rotate on power. It's probably why I'm a little slow in the corners, but it fits my driving style a little bit better. So what I'm doing right now is I'm really just kind of trying to get a feel on where it likes to rotate in the corners and what I want to change, if I want to change anything. In regards to drive being how it takes off out of the corners, I think the diff setup's not bad. I mean, I'm not hitting that well. I just need more time on the track to hit that right, but what I want is a car that I feel like I can do anything with. These tires aren't the best, however, the track is dry. You don't really need a lot of tire on this track right now. Oh, I overshot that really bad. I was gonna try to hit the inside, but when you hit the inside of that jump, it doesn't jump you as far. My battery might be dumping already. Oh yeah, my battery's dumping. All right, new battery pack in there, feels much better. I'll be honest, guys, I really can't think of anything I would do to this thing right now. Oh, maybe it pushed a little bit there. Maybe I could rotate a little bit quicker there. So if you want to rotate a little bit quicker, you can take some toe out of the rear. Right now it's in the middle. For me, it's in the middle hole. I can maybe do 2 dot in. It'll rotate a little bit quicker. But it's only on that one corner, and it's never good to tune a car based on one corner, because I could have just hit it wrong. Which, yeah, right there I feel like I'm waiting for it just a little bit. But other than that, like, I can't complain right now. I mean, this thing is good. No! I figured something out. As soon as I start talking about how good it feels, I make a mistake. So I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and just run some laps real quick. Woo! Overshot it again. So there is one problem, and it's the biggest problem I've sensed all night. And it's that I keep getting mosquito bites on my legs as I'm driving. Oh, could tell I shorted that one. Ooh, overshot that a little bit. Oh. That's what's awesome about Truggy. You mess it up a little bit, you're okay. because it's so freaking big. It's so forgiving. It's awesome. Guys, I'm not joking. I have no complaints. Like, I let James drive it. He said it felt good. Maybe I need some tires. These tires are pretty worn. I knew that it wasn't going to be great on the tire in the tire department, but the truck feels really good. It's extremely aggressive. It rotates really, really well. It almost handles like the buggy, which is crazy because it's a truggy. Usually truggies push a little bit more. I have nothing that I actually want to do to it right now, except for just drive it. So I'm not going to change setup yet. I'm going to put another set of tires on it and just get some time on it because it's crazy. It feels great. Like I don't have any complaints. Granted, I can probably get more speed. I'm not even counting my times yet. I'm going to turn the time on and I'm going to start seeing my times and make some changes to see if I can get a little bit faster. But out of the box, I would feel confident just driving this race right out of the box. It feels really good. So, man, I'm impressed.